Metal Gear Survive didn't sell well. Shocking. This is a game about which, from the moment it was announced, the Metal Gear fanbase and the gaming community as a whole pondered in unison, why? Why the hell would Konami think it would be a great idea to follow up Kojima's controversial departure and the release of the contentious Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Pachinko by shoehorning the Metal Gear name into one of the most generic ideas for a video game possible, one brought to life by recycling assets from an existing game, no less. This was a game that nobody asked for, a game that couldn't have come at a worse time, and a game that couldn't afford to succumb to insidious monetization schemes if it intended to overcome the steep uphill battle that it's been facing since announcement. But of course, Konami being Konami, they couldn't resist the temptation of pulling crap like charging exorbitant fees for basic game features like extra character save slots. At every turn since Konami took over Metal Gear, they've done the exact opposite of what they should be doing to win back a disillusioned fanbase and entice an apprehensive gaming community. So naturally, most gamers responded in kind by staying as far away from the game as humanly possible. The following information comes from website ChartTrack, which keeps track of physical video game sales in the UK. According to the latest chart, during its launch week, Metal Gear Survive didn't do so hot, only placing 6th in the list of top 40 games sold that week. Now, 6th may sound significant to some of you, but when we're talking about a game carrying the Metal Gear name that released to little competition, placing 6th during the pivotal launch week amidst other games that have been out for weeks, if not months, is actually pretty abysmal. I'm willing to bet that in 1 or 2 weeks we are going to see Metal Gear Survive completely vanish from the top 40 games list altogether in these UK charts. Just to give you additional context for how poorly the game truly sold in the UK as far as physical copies go, various websites are reporting the statistic that Survive sold 85% fewer copies than the spin-off Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance did during its launch week. Furthermore, an analyst going by the name of Daniel Ahmad, who lurks the Reset Era forums, pointed out in one of his posts that Survive didn't even achieve 5% of what Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain opened at. It's also worth noting that when you look at Metal Gear Survive sales by individual platforms in ChartTrack's, the PlayStation 4 version of the game ranks 13th in sales, the Xbox One version 33rd, and the PC version is nowhere to be seen, though that has to do with the fact that most PC purchases were likely made digitally via Steam. But if we look at Steam stats, it's possible to see that since launch, the game has only peaked at 4,376 concurrent players, which is quite a dismal amount in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, with all said and done, when you consider Survive's low physical sales ranking in the UK, when you consider how poorly it compared to launch week sales of other entries in the Metal Gear series like Metal Gear Solid 5 and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance even, and when you consider the low number of concurrent players on Steam, it is easy to see that this game isn't what one might call a runaway success. Obviously, we would need data from larger markets like the US and digital sales data to get a better picture, but physical sales performance and Steam charts can be pretty good overall indicators for a game's sales prospects, and it is not looking good at all for this generic zombie shooter masquerading as a Metal Gear game. Let's be real though, is anyone really surprised by any of this? Did Konami really think that a game like this would have any chance of remotely being a hit? Did they really think they could just recycle Metal Gear Solid 5, reshuffle some assets, shove some zombies and survival elements in, lazily duct tape it all together, and successfully sell what is essentially a misguided mod as a spanking new standalone $40 product? I feel like Konami had this very short-sighted mentality that Metal Gear's renown in the gaming industry and the mainstream popularity of zombie movies, shows, and games would somehow blend together nicely and amplify each other or something along those lines. But as Survive has proven, Metal Gear and zombie shooters go together about as well as oil and water. Here's what Konami doesn't get. In order to appeal to a large audience, they have to start with a community that already exists. If they work towards pleasing the fans, the game will naturally shape itself in terms of quality and artistic merits and integrity, and then the fans will spread the word around, and as a result, new people might be introduced and enticed to join in on the fun. That's how I believe Monster Hunter World became such a huge success. This was a game that was made first and foremost for fans, and that singular focus naturally led to a quality game with a slew of sensible improvements, and these improvements served to attract new people to the game as word about the game's quality spread from the existing fan base. But when you ignore and disrespect the fans or try to exploit them for selfish gains, word about that spreads around fast, and this can easily culminate to a game being dead on arrival. Because at the end of the day, it's the infectious excitement of hardcore fans that marks the origin point of the Rube Goldberg machine that is the best kind of PR any game could ask for: widespread, positive word of mouth. I feel like none of this is rocket science, it's all pretty much common sense, but then again, common sense sort of goes out the window when avarice takes over. Oh well, you know what they say, you reap what you sow, and Metal Gear Survive is looking like it's on its way to reaping exactly what it deserves. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the matter. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content, consider supporting me on Patreon. It is completely optional, but donating even as little as $1 a month will go a long way in helping this channel grow. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.